One guy told me he ain't a real log truck driver till you flip the pup on its side.
No. The most dangerous job out there is logging.
You can still make good money, but you are putting in a lot of hours. Your minimum day is, like a short day is like 12 hours.
To somebody maybe thinking about the logging industry, would you recommend going into it right out of truck driving school? Or would you say, get some other experience under your belt?
It's either you're gonna love it, you're not gonna mind the long days, you're not gonna mind the hard work, or you're gonna hate it.
If you're thinking about a career in the trades and you want to know what employers actually look for, what the work is really like, and what nobody tells you before you get started, you're in the right place. Built in the Midwest features conversations that'll help you figure out if this path is for you.
Welcome, Kyle, to Built in the Midwest podcast. Thanks so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
No, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, so if I can give a backstory, Kyle was a student of mine where I got to teach you how to drive a 10-speed and get in the industry and got your CDL. And this was what? This was 8 years ago? 9 years ago?
I want to say it was 9 years ago.
9 years. Okay, so it's been a minute.
It would have been June of 2017.
Yeah, I'll be darned.
Yeah.
So, and I'll tell you what, I'll never forget kind of you riding in the truck because you were a quick study, picked it right up. And in all honesty, like here we are 9 years later, and I've got to know your story pretty well over the years. But let's start right at the beginning, taking me right through. All right, you graduated truck driving school, got your CDL. What happened then?
Well, it was actually kind of interesting because Gene's Towing had a little poster on the thing.
Oh, on the wall that they were hiring, yeah.
I walked in and I think we had an interview right then and there.
Okay.
I'm like, hey, here you guys are hiring, and they're like, well, come on back. It was Jamie Spricks, the owner of Gene's Towing, and he's like, yeah, come on back. We'll do this right now. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, perfect.
And I want to say it was like that day or maybe the next day. They're like, yeah, we'll hire you. And I'm like, holy shit, like this is insane.
That didn't take long.
So within a week, not even, I had a job working at Gene's Towing, and
right out of school.
Actually, also I was hauling milk for DeBakers.
I'll be done. Right out of school.
Yep, right out of school. So I had two jobs. One was Thursday and Friday, and then the rest of the week I worked at Gene's Towing.
I know nothing wrong with that. Now, did you know that's what you wanted to do right out of high school, was get your CDL and get into this industry?
Yes, because originally it was to become a lineman, and then I started driving, went to the school that fall, went down to Georgia to school. It was a 15-week school.
Oh, yeah.
And it was pretty interesting, very fast paced, but they have a pretty good program down there, and I will say like they have a pretty good success rate. Very strict program, but they do pretty good. It's good.
But it's kind of like the CDL part where it's like, it's full immersion, right? And you were talking about that there's so much that they cover every single day, and it's like you got to be there and give it up 100%.
Very high speed, because it's not like you're learning one subject a week. It's you're learning two subjects, and then also like your other things like trying to get crane certified and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so it's like you're getting a lot thrown at you at once, and I think that's probably the toughest part, is just trying to remember all of it.
Trying to remember everything, and then you have your tests you were talking about that you have to pass. And
yeah, and like so you're doing a couple subjects a week, maybe even 3. So at the end of the week, you'll have like 3 tests.
Oh, wow. That's in 1 week.
In one week,
yeah. So.
And that gets kind of intense. And then in the middle, like in these weeks, like you're doing CPR, first aid, like I said, the crane stuff. And then you're also going outside doing all the climbing and learning how all that stuff.
Wow.
So it's a lot thrown at you at once in 15 weeks. I'll be honest, if I could go back, I would do the NMU, and where it's a whole year.
Kind of spread out a little bit more, and it gives you
can actually learn it a little easier.
More time with everything. And, that's the other thing is, the fact that that you can fail those programs that quickly. That's
Yes.
a definitely
You're only allowed to fail
deterrent of going there. But one thing that is interesting to me is you really dove right into the logging industry, kind of right after school.
Yeah.
And and I will tell you, everyone says the logging industry is one of the biggest industries here in the Upper Peninsula. But how did you get into it, and how was that experience for you?
Well, that's actually kind of a funny story because I was dating a girl at a time, and she had a family friend that had a log truck. Her uncle or cousin used to drive it. He was looking for a driver, and I was at Gene's Towing, and they're like, "Well, hey, you interested in this?" And I'm like, I'll give it a shot. Looks cool.
Kyle doesn't care. I'll try a little bit of everything.
I'll try it. You see the trucks rolling down the highway, and you're like, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
pretty badass, if you ask me. So let's give this a shot. And man, I remember that was a 1992 Kenworth T800 high hood.
Yep.
She was rough.
Yeah.
She was a rough truck. I remember meeting guys later on, and they're like, "Yeah, I remember that." You pulling in on that truck, and we just all felt bad for you. Man, that's rough.
It's like, ooh, talk about getting your feet wet, and just dive right on in. And
I mean, I want to say it was every other day that truck was breaking.
Really?
And, yeah, just. I remember one time the steering arm right off the steering box just turned a corner, and that thing just popped right off.
Oh no!
And I'm telling you what, when you got one missing because dual steer boxes on those trucks.
We only have one.
Built. Yeah, it's dual.
And those are 20,000-pound front axles. So
yeah,
you need all of it.
Yeah, I was standing in the seat going hand over hand just trying to.
No.
Well, it was fully loaded though,
Oh,
too.
yeah,
so,
exactly.
But yeah, it made for that was quite the learning experience doing that.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Yeah, that was a school of hard knocks.
Yeah, there's only a handful of people throughout the course of a year that get into the logging industry. It's probably one of the toughest forms of trucking that I can think of out there. And when did you decide to get into the owner-operator logging side?
I want to say it was about 3 years afterwards.
Okay.
So I did that, and then I actually ended up working for Max Constantino. He was a great teacher, I will say that. He's a little rough around the edges, but he's a great guy, honestly.
Yeah, and you got to learn a lot from him. And
he taught me a lot.
He's been in this trade for
many years, and man, seeing even when I started with him to what he is now, like that's awesome. I am so happy to see that because that guy works his ass off to get where he's at, and man,
he doesn't slow down. He doesn't take time off.
No, that guy doesn't slow down at all.
No.
He literally runs. He runs around the truck. It's like keep up or get out.
Exactly.
And I remember a few times we got a new driver when I was working for him, and guy did not. I think he made it 3 days.
Really?
Yeah, he
just couldn't cut it.
Just couldn't cut it.
No.
Well, I mean, you got to ride with me that one time. And just
now that's an experience. Now I got to talk about that just for a second because that was amazing. So I've been, as you know, very interested in the logging industry for some time. Have years on the road. Have had my CDL for 17 years, but never did anything with logging. And I was like, Kyle, you gotta. Can you take me out? I just want to experience it. And so we went out and oh my God, some of the roads that we went down and you take log trucks down roads that you wouldn't take a 4-wheeler down, but you're taking a fully loaded log truck and pop down.
Yeah. and I'll be honest, like the roads that I took you down were actually pretty nice.
Oh yeah. Well, that's great to hear. That. So, but
those were nice roads.
But it just blows me away. And then you were telling me stories. Oh yeah, sometimes you got to get pulled in and pulled out if it's really muddy or.
I've had that where I'm pushing mud with the top of my bumper.
Oh.
And I had to get pulled all the way to the turnaround. They had to turn me around with the dozer, and then they pulled me to the pile. I loaded the truck, and then they pulled me all the way out.
Wow.
You were not getting in and
No.
out under your own power.
It was just that bad and that muddy.
Like, in my opinion, after that, you might as well just go home. It's
Yep.
like all you're gonna do is just break stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There's
So-
nothing good's gonna come from trying to go through 3 feet of mud. And
Yeah, and I've
like-
seen some pretty rough roads where they're like, "Oh yeah, this is good," and I'm like, "You sure?" 'Cause I mean, like, that's going right through a swamp, and you get on it, and you can see the ground just doing the wave as you are driving from.
Oh yeah.
truck.
Oh wow. And that's nerve wracking.
Oh, yeah, 'cause-
You're like on a bog and
Well, because like I remember this one time, it was just go down this hill. It's a swamp, and they're like, "Yeah, we found this rope. We didn't know it was there,
oh,
but we found it." And I'm like, I mean, like, did you guys add anything? No, it looks good enough. And we're like,
you just found a road. Like you find a quarter on the sidewalk. I just found a road, so just go ahead and take it. Like,
yeah. We
That's
found
good.
this
That's
road.
what-
We
yeah.
didn't know it was there, but it's there.
But
it's
it's
exactly
good.
where we planned on putting the road anyways.
Perfect.
So we're just going to use it. And the road was just as wide as the truck.
Oh man.
So like if you made any little mistake, you went off, which I did end up doing.
Well, when
I
it's
was
that
young.
tight, when it's that tight, yeah, you're bound to make a mistake, and
Yeah.
and you talk about like those Kenworths high hood, you can't see in
can't
front of
see
you,
the
right?
sides.
You can't see the sides, and it's hard. It's hard to know where you're at.
Yeah, it really is because, man, I drove the regular T800 sloped hood for a while.
Yep.
And then I had to hop in my guy who I hauled for, Andy Drayton, his high hood. I drove that and I'm like, man, I can't see shit out of this thing.
No, exactly.
I'm like, man, but I look cool.
Yeah, it looks cool, but I
Looks
can't
cool.
see nothing.
I can't-
And they always have the tiny little windows, and it's like,
And
man,
he even said, he's like, because he had to hop in mine, and he's like, man, I can actually like see the edges of the road way better. And I'm like, yeah, it
it makes a big difference.
makes a difference. He's
Absolutely.
like, but it doesn't look as cool. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it
that's-
don't. But I mean, sometimes
But it's totally
practicality, you gotta.
Absolutely. It's like you hop in a Freightliner, Century or Columbia or Cascadia.
Yeah.
You have the sloped hood. You can see everything, and then you get into a Pete or a Kenworth, and it's like,
Yeah,
well, that's
which-
totally different. So,
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I am running a 389 Pete right now.
Oh,
and
you
it's,
are? Okay.
Beautiful truck.
oh yeah,
But yeah, visibility wise, I will say that it is better than the Kenworths. The
Okay.
dash is lower,
okay.
which I actually enjoyed, and very nice trucks. I got no complaints. with
Yes,
that.
you got a little better visibility there.
Yeah,
and everything, which
you
is
actually
which
see
is
it.
nice. Yeah, and I'll never forget. Then we got to the big. It was all hardwood logs, for the most part where we were, and you hop in the chair and you're working that grapple, and you make it look so easy, and there's one stick and you pick it up, and it's one of those things that if the majority of people never ran something like that, but how long did it take you to get good on that? Because me, I struggle so much on those things. I'm like, I feel like I'm learning a second language.
It took me years.
Years to get good on that.
Like get actually good to where you're being efficient on it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of times you don't think about it. You're like, yep, just load it, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know it, you're looking at the pile and it's just messed up because you were picking from the wrong spot. Now you got 2 stops. You got to make the next stop because you screwed it up.
Yep.
So
You got to know. You got to know what you're loading, and that's where talk about that from from your perspective, and some of the challenges that you face, because you have different piles of logs, you have different grades of logs, as well as different species of wood. It goes to
Yep.
different places.
yeah, you got different species. Like a lot of aspen goes to LPs and Newberry and Segola. So you got that. Potlatch is a lot of softwood like red pine, jack pine. So I mean, you got all of those. Which really, if you don't know, just don't be ashamed to ask the logger. I mean, someone will
he knows.
teach you.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, like, man, I'm not very, like, I'm not good at this. Like, can you tell me certain ways to distinguish? And it goes a long ways just doing that, because once it's a lot better than accidentally grabbing the wrong stuff and
The
bringing
wrong
it to
stuff.
the wrong place.
And then bring it to the wrong place, and then what? It's like, and depending, they might not take it, and then
Yeah, because I remember one time we got told we can bring, I forgot what it even was. I think it was spruce or balsam. But anyways, potlatch was not taking it. And I get there, and they're looking at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I was told you guys are taking this. They're like, we haven't been taking this since like Christmas. And it's like June.
no,
Or it's like middle of summer. And
you
I'm
were
like,
told the wrong information.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what the hell is this?
So what'd you have to do then?
Well, I had to make some phone calls, and then there's like, we're sorry about that. Like, we got told the wrong thing. And I'm like, well,
My
okay.
bad. My bad.
They're like, we'll pay you the mileage going up there and then also going back to Escanaba.
Oh, okay.
Because the job actually was like out of, I want to say close to Foster City.
Gotcha. Okay, so you went all the way up there.
All the way up there.
They didn't take it.
Yeah, they
and
just
so
looked
now
at
you
me
had to take
funny
that
and-
load down to Billerud or Verso.
Yeah, it would have
Okay.
been Verso at that time.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be darned. Yeah, no, and those are the challenges I think in logging that a lot of people don't talk about, because you really got to know how to operate that grapple extremely well. You got to be a problem solver. What are some of the biggest problems or challenges that you ran into in the logging side that just really made for a rough day?
Tipping a truck over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the
Okay.
woods.
I haven't heard about that.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, as one guy told me, you ain't a real log truck driver till you flipped a pup on its side.
No.
Which, thankfully,
Get your feather in your
it's-
cap.
it's-
I did it.
It's happened a couple times to me, and it's mainly been on the job road. I've never lost it on a actual county road. Never flipped one on the side. So
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yep, that's good. We don't have that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what happens when that happens? Does it like a corner too sharp, or one side of the road kind of gives out, or
Well, say you get a little bit too close to the edge, all of a sudden the pup can just slide right off, and then it goes right on its side. Now, I did have it happen one time where I was kind of coming up a hill. It was in the winter, and the road was crowned really good. Some guy wanted to see what we were doing back there. Some random guy from town just wanted to take a drive.
No.
And there was a pull-off spot, and instead of just pulling into it, like you just straight in, like he backed into it, and then the whole front end of his truck was just sticking out. And I just moved off to the side, and the whole pup went over, and I felt the whole truck start to tip, and then it came back down, and I was like, Jesus Christ. It made a mess.
Oh, I can imagine. Oh, just because someone was rubbernecking and wanted to check out
Just wanted to check out what we're doing.
and you're like,
I
and so
will-
you're like, I could, look, so it kind of put you in a real bad position. It was like, okay, try
Well,
to.
because that was my load supposed to go back to Escanaba. And this is all the way up in Lance.
Oh wow.
So I had to go to the yard right outside of Lance. I forget the name of it, but I think it's bovine.
Okay.
And had to go there with half a load because the other half was in the ditch.
Yep.
And then I had to go back, reload the truck, come back, grab the pup load, and then head on out. And that was
Yeah.
for a long day.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Now, did it do any damage to the pup?
No, it didn't do a thing.
No, it just lost your load. Just
Yeah, just lost load, a little bit of the ego. And
yeah, no,
time.
exactly. I imagine you had a few choice words for that gentleman that decided to.
I didn't even go near him.
Yeah, no,
Just get away from me.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I'm not dealing with this.
I hope you got to see what you wanted to see, but
He said he felt pretty bad. I'm like, I hope you do.
yeah, no, exactly. Wow, crazy. Crazy. Well, it's one thing that, you've been able to really live, breathe this industry in a way that the majority of people haven't. And I get questions all the time. Like, I want to get into the logging industry. How do I get in the logging industry? One, would you recommend it? One, and two, how does someone get into the logging industry?
I mean, I will say this: if you want to get, I'm never gonna turn someone away from it, because there is quite a age gap in that trade.
Yeah, absolutely.
To where, good example is me and Corey McInerney are a couple years apart, and we both got into it at about the same time. So I was 19, I think he was 20, 21. And,
Gotcha.
You're going to be the youngest guys in the industry at that time. Well, now fast forward 8 years later, we're still the youngest guys in the industry.
He's still the youngest guy in the industry.
There's hardly anyone under us.
Now, why is that? Why aren't more people?
It's, in my experience, you're putting in a lot of hours. And, don't get me wrong, you can still make good money, but you are putting in a lot of hours.
Yeah.
I mean, your minimum day is, a short day is 12 hours.
Minimum 12 hours.
Yeah.
So what time did you and a lot of other loggers like to wake up in the morning?
Well, it all depends. If you want to be like Charlie Adams, you can get up before midnight.
Before midnight. No.
Yeah, that guy, he's wild. He'll haul all the loads.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't slow down.
No.
If there's loads to be hauled.
No, he always says, he's like, I'm going to slow her down a little bit. And then it's he's up at midnight, talk to him at, 4 in the morning, and he's like, yeah, I already got 2 loads in today. And it's like, what are you doing? I thought you said you were slowing down. Yeah, I can't.
Sounds like you grabbed a gear.
Yeah, it's like, well, I can't sit at home.
Yeah,
I guess not, dude.
No, you're not kidding.
But I mean, no, you want to learn how to run, talk to him on the phone, and he'll give you some tips. He can run hard.
So something, I was doing a Google search before this, and something I saw was that the most dangerous job out there is logging.
Really?
Yes, just in case you were wondering, in case you didn't know, which I found it interesting. And, from your own experience, what have you seen of the dangers of logging?
Well, I've seen a few. Nothing too crazy, but I mean, you should really start thinking about it. Well, look at the way that we'll trim the trucks when you got long ones.
Yep.
Chainsaw's right above your head. You're just holding onto it with one arm, and
you're right up there,
right there, just holding onto it, and you're just wide open.
Exactly. Because that's the problem. And so what Kyle's saying here, you got a long log that sticks out the side of a truck.
Yeah.
You can only be so wide. You got to use your chainsaw to trim down the side of the truck and to make sure nothing's overhanging. But sometimes it's 10 feet up in the air. So you're straight up with the chainsaw. That's kind of dangerous.
That's pretty dangerous.
A little bit.
But I think the problem was I got into it so young that's just when I just got told that's how it's done. If you can't do it, then you got to find a different job.
So
I don't know how else you're going to do it.
So it wasn't even push comes to shove. It was like, no, this is the way it's done. You can't haul it with stuff sticking out the side. Get up there and trim it.
Once you get better at running the loader, you can kind of find those ones that are high up. Because actually, I will say probably the most dangerous part is trying to trim the ones all the way up on top to where you actually have to get on top of the load with a chainsaw.
Oh yeah, because lean over the edge.
Lean over the edge, and that's because man, I have came close to falling off that pup quite a few times just pulling chains.
A few times. Yeah, and talk to me about that because how now I've seen you do it, but I want to hear everyone to be able to hear it from you. How do you get the chains to go over top of your load?
So you got chain boxes right in the front, and then I hook the chains up to drop stakes if you have them. If you don't, normally you got a hook on the one side of the drop stake, So you'll just hook it onto that, and then you spin the loader to the side so you're closest to the wood on the trailer, and you'll just, if you don't have a step that swings out,
No.
you got to hop.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's not a far hop.
And
Hopefully
you're
you got
like
long
14
legs.
feet up in the air. So
Yeah, and then you just grab the chains and you pull it over the top, and there's air binders on the other side, and you hook it up to those.
Wow. So you're actually walking across the whole load on top.
Yeah.
There's no fall protection up there or
No.
anything. So, okay. So it's starting to make sense why this is the, most dangerous occupation. And I'm you're hopping 14 feet, hoping that it's not slippery or raining or snowy or icy. I mean, there's,
I will say, in my opinion, stepping over is a lot easier than coming back to the loader.
gotcha.
Because, I don't know, for me, it was like, well, I can set my foot on this one log and then just kind of climb up it. But then when you're trying to come back over, say it's raining, I don't know, this is kind of slick.
There's a little slippery.
Yeah.
So there's and I think that's important for people out there that are maybe interested in this, that it's a dangerous job. There's some danger aspects to it.
It can be as dangerous as you want to make it. I mean, don't get me wrong, you got to do some stuff, but push come to shove,
Yeah.
you got to be able to say what you're comfortable doing and what you're not. But
Absolutely.
because, I mean, I don't know, at the end of the day, we all want to go back to our families. So,
Well, yeah, exactly.
How dangerous do you want to be?
Exactly. Wow. No, I think there's a lot of jobs out there that have so many safety precautions in place, right? That you can't hurt yourself if you wanted to. But logging, I don't see a lot of that, where there's just you just got to be extra careful in everything that you're doing. But it's not like you have fall protection up there.
Well, a lot of it's just kind of common sense.
Yeah.
Which I know it's not very common nowadays, but you have to, look around, be observant, be like, that doesn't look like a good place to be.
Yeah.
So I'll stay out of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What other what other advice would you give to somebody maybe thinking about the logging industry? Would you recommend going into it right out of truck driving school, or would you say, get some other experience under your belt? What's a good recommended path
I think
there?
it all depends on the person. Because really, I think you're either cut out for it or you're not. It's either you're going to love it, you're not going to mind the long days, not going to mind the hard work, or you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
And there really seems to be no in between.
No.
Like
Just
either you love it or you
hate it. Like you were talking about the one guy who made it 3 days, that you were working with, and he just couldn't cut it. And
and it was like the trimming. That's what really got him.
really,
Yeah, he's like, no, like,
chainsaw over top of my head. Like you got to swing it up like you're in a circus and land it just right.
oh yeah, you just, well, you can, I don't know, if you got enough muscle, you can power it up there, but it's not bad.
I think if there was a chainsaw safety instructor listening, he's just rolling his eyes right now.
He
Like,
probably is.
Oh boy. Not only do you not have two hands on it, but then you're over your head and you're trying to get it to bite up there.
Yeah, hoping it don't kick. And,
Yeah, no, exactly.
well, and then, I don't know, the best way I learned was you don't want to have it like too far forward. You're actually almost better off to be directly under it. Like, I'm not lying.
Yeah, right over top of your head. That's ideal.
Because actually, when that piece falls off, it's going to hit the muffler of the, which mufflers don't last long, but it's going to hit the saw and then bounce away.
Gotcha. All right.
It's always going to hit the saw first.
So
you're under it.
Like a ping pong ball. It's just going to bounce off the saw.
I've had them where I'm like, I'll just stand a little bit back, and then it rolls back, and it rolls right onto you.
Oh, and it rolls down the saw onto you.
Yeah, it rolls
as
backwards.
Opposed to
where a lot of times they'll either go forward or backward. Well, if you're underneath the saw, it's either going to land behind you or in front of you.
Interesting. It's the safest place.
It doesn't sound like the safest.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm going to have to take your word for it on that one. All right. So
I've been told I tend to do dangerous stuff safely.
Yes. Okay. All right. That's that's an oxymoron. Dangerous stuff safely. No.
Like you know you're doing a dangerous thing, but you're just trying to do it as safely as possible.
Oh my God. No, that's good stuff. Well, if you could go back, and like I said, you got your CDL 9 years ago, and you've been in different aspects of the trucking industry, including over the road, right?
Yep.
Would you do anything differently, or did it all kind of lead you to where you are now?
I think it all kind of led me to where I am now. It's all experience that it'll come in handy one of these days.
Absolutely.
I know it will, but there's a lot of things that you get to see different perspectives because, man, I don't know. When I was in a log truck, I'm like, man, those over the road guys just got it so easy. Which it's not, I'm not knocking over the road driving because there's its own demons in that.
Oh, exactly. And it's tough in its own right. Just being away. Just being away.
Yeah, being away from home.
Just being away from home and not being able to eat dinner with the family on a regular basis. That's tough.
Yeah. Or, it's like, oh, well, someone's birthday's coming up and I'm not home for that. So that sucks.
Yep. Or a holiday, like you just said.
Yep. I was gone for Memorial Day, which wasn't a huge deal because obviously I'm single, no kids. So not a big deal. But
it would be if you had,
it would be,
a wife and kids, and that's something you got to think about.
Yeah. So but that's just a part of doing that job. Is sometimes you're gonna get stuck out on the road, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No, exactly. And I think it's important for people that are looking at these different trades is to kind of understand what they're getting into and know that they're not maybe as easy as you make it in your mind, and that it's going to require a lot of hard work and sacrifice. And
my opinion, if you're not willing to make some sacrifice, you're probably in the wrong industry.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess another big thing is for the guys who are just getting into the trucking industry, you're not going to get the top pay right away.
No,
you got to simmer it down. It takes years.
It's like anything. It takes years. You got to work your way up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're not going to start where a 20-year seasoned vet is. Right. You're going to start down here.
Met so many guys who it's like they're a year or two in. Like, man, I should be getting this, and I'm like, I don't know. I've been on the phone with you, and I've heard you fuck up several things, to where it's like, come on, dude, what are you doing? But
you're lucky you still have a job. You're looking for a raise. I'm wondering why you're still employed.
And I'm sure you've seen it too, where it's like, man, I don't know. Maybe you should just shut your mouth and learn.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and especially early on, that's something I encourage all the students that, don't be too picky choosy. Get that experience under your belt, and your experience is more important than the money that you make, because that experience will build the foundation that you can build on the rest of your life.
Well, and then even when someone's trying to teach you how to do something and you think you already know it, just sit there with your mouth shut, listen, because there might throw in something that you weren't doing before that you should have been.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely
every day you learn something.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. I love that. And, I always enjoyed talking and learning from older guys in the industry that have been in the industry for 30 years. And they have all little tips and tricks to make it more efficient and effective and, maximize your time out there. So,
and that's a big thing in a lot of the industry is just trying to do the most you can with your time and not just be sitting there twiddling your thumbs because you messed something up or whatever.
Exactly.
That's huge, especially with, a lot of the logging is you get paid by the quarter, you get paid by the load, or there's some guys that do it by the hour, but it's not very many, honestly.
Yeah.
And at least that I've seen, a lot of it is by the load, or, if you're cutting
so you can maximize as much on that truck and pup as you can, and that's how you stack it. And
yeah, and just trying to be as efficient as you can.
Yep.
That's huge. And also not tearing stuff up.
Yeah.
It's not cheap to fix
No.
some things. And I'll say this right now, like the rates are not up where they should be.
Yeah.
Because I talked to a few people and they're like, man, I was looking at my rate sheets from 2004, 2003, 2002, and there's not much of a change.
And over 20 years.
Yeah. Like it's
Wow.
not very much. And I remember talking to one guy and he's like, yep, 2001, I bought a brand new truck, brand new Kenworth. And for the truck, pup, loader, rack, everything, I paid $150,000 for it.
Wow.
And then, like we were just saying, it's probably close to $600,000 to put together a new one, and the rates have barely changed.
Wow. Well, that definitely doesn't incentivize people to want to get in this industry.
I think that's where we are seeing the biggest problem is if you actually want to make money, you really have to just work. I mean, like really, really work. It's not, you do your 10 loads a week, whatever. Like normally you would be sitting really good, and it just feels like that's not the case.
That's not the case anymore. So clearly, there needs to be some catching up on that regard, and
yes,
and hopefully we see a big change in that, because the log industry is one of the biggest industries in the upper Midwest, and the fact of the matter is, if you're in the log industry, you got to be able to provide for your family, but you got to be able to, you got to be in the black. I mean, it has to work.
It's got to make sense. It's got to, I mean, none of them were looking to get rich off.
No.
It just,
but you want to make a good living.
You want to make a living.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're taking out a $600,000 loan for a brand new truck and pup, guess what? You deserve to make a good living and willing to work the hours that you do. So,
well, and the thing is it's now getting to the point where you don't even want to try and go all new. Just forget it, because that payment's going to be astronomical. I mean, $600,000, you're probably looking at close to a fucking $14,000 a month payment.
Yeah, so trying to haul that many loads, on top of your regular maintenance and everything else.
Yeah, top of your regular maintenance.
Yeah, so
and any other payment you have.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, probably some people can do it, but I wouldn't want to.
No,
I wouldn't want to be that guy.
That's a lot of stress, because that one log truck goes down or has a bad breakdown.
Like there's no income coming in.
Yeah, none.
So
it's tough. So that's where hopefully the industry can change kind of for the better, to be able to really give all the loggers out there kind of the right pay that they need to be able to do the job. Otherwise, we're going to be chasing loggers away, and we're not going to get young people into it, because no one's going to work for free anymore. Plain and simple. It ain't going to happen.
Well, and the other thing is, there's not a whole lot of people who just want to sit down and just put in a bunch of hours.
Yeah, those people are becoming rare.
Well, plus, how do you incentivize people to get into logging? Like, hey, kids, look at me. You want to go work 80 hours a week, and
bring home $75,
and question life choices. Like, at the end of the day, it's got to make sense for everyone.
Exactly. And so for you've looked at everything and said, you know what? Okay, well, if this isn't where it needs to be, I'm going to find something that is, plain and simple.
Yeah.
So I know.
I did drive for someone else's log truck, and I didn't mind that. Just, I will say, the only reason I switched over the road was just because we were having an inconsistent, like they even said, they're like, this is the most inconsistent summer we ever had, like in years. And it was just like,
just how the loads worked out.
Yeah. So I was just trying to find
But that doesn't work for
something
somebody that wants a full-time position either.
Well, and like we were making it work. Like, we would rotate on, because there was a few times there where it's like, well, there's not enough loads for everyone. And, well, this guy sat last week, so I'll sit this week, or not the week, but I'll sit a couple days.
Yeah.
And then, next week someone else will sit. And so it just
kind of rotated
very,
a little
very
bit.
fair.
Yeah.
I mean, you really can't argue it. they treated me really good. Like, they were really nice people. Great people, honestly. But yeah, just try to get something more consistent.
No, exactly. And it's one of those things that sometimes you can't help kind of where the industry's at. And you can't put your life on hold. So it's like, all right, time to move on and do what's best for you. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, Kyle. I will tell you, I think definitely gave a lot of great information to people out there that are interested in the trades, thinking about the logging industry, and gave them a little bit more to chew on, right? And it's not all roses and rainbows. And I think it's important that people understand some of those expectations.
Yeah, hopefully they do. I mean, like we talked, it's not all it's cracked out to be. There's a lot more work involved than I think some people expect. Maybe not, but
some good
some
stuff.
Things need to change, and hopefully they do.
Exactly. Well, you know what? I appreciate you for keeping it real with me.
Yeah, anytime.
All right.
Thank you.
Great having you, Kyle.